What the? What is that, like spiritual pressure or something? We're getting to Bleach territory here. Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you have just watched my new intro. Later on, you're going to watch my new outro. Right now, you're watching my review for Tokyo Ravens Episode 9. And this one starts off right where the last one left off. The, okay, New Way, Chimera, Spirit Disaster, they have so many interchangeable terms for these freaking things. The way I'm gonna do it is that the one that's trapped inside the barrier, I'm gonna call that one a Chimera. And the one that Kagami first tried to take out, I'm gonna call that one the New Way, okay? Because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of these terms and all this crap, okay? No, I'm not doing it anymore, alright? The one inside the barrier is Chimera, and the one that Kagami first tried to destroy, that one's a New Way. All right, that's the way it's gonna go for the rest of this review. Okay, but the New Way thing, the New Way one, that one runs away after the Chimera digivolves into Phase 4, pretty much what it does, right? Or I guess it would be more accurate to say DNA digivolves because it fused with that miasma that Chihiro created, but whatever. The point is that it's Phase 4 now, okay? And Kogure, he calls his bike over. Apparently, it's a familiar. It's not just a normal motorcycle, it's a familiar. So he calls it over and it just comes over. And Natsume ends up going along with Kogure to chase after Niue. And Kogure summons his crows as well, and they get to work. They try and trap the Niue. It doesn't work, though. It gets by them. And Harutora and Kon, we see them. They actually start to head over to where the Niue is going. So that's one of the first changes in scene. We have this episode change scenes so many freaking times. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's like even One Piece doesn't change scenes as often. It's ridiculous. But we do end up changing scenes again. And it's Toji. All right, we see Toji, he's laying in a bed, he wakes up, and Mio Kurahashi's next to him. And she tells him that the reason that all this half-ogre stuff has been going on with him is because she loosened the seal on his ogre. And she says that she did that in order for him to learn how to control it. And pretty much, he's going to become like a Jinchuriki, pretty much. He's going to, and the ogre's going to become his Nine Tails, and he's going to learn how to control this Spirit Disaster's power and use it for himself. Right? And we learned that Kagami, he's been doing this. At first I thought he was called the Ogre Eater because he kills a lot of ogres. It turns out he's called the Ogre Eater because he eats up all of their power and uses it himself. So, that's an interesting fact. I'm sure we'll get to see him do more of that later on. But according to Mio, Harutora's dad said that he would only allow something like that if Harutora was involved / operated the treatment. I don't even know what does that even mean? Yeah, I honestly don't even know. Like it's a treatment. By the end of the episode, he had already done it, so I don't really know what him and Mio Kurahashi meant by that. How would you operate the train? Like it's not like it could just be some surgery that could be done. If that was possible, they would have done it already. So operated. I don't, whatever. It doesn't even matter because by the end of the episode, he's controlled it anyway. No training or anything. He just all of a sudden, boom, he's got it. So whatever. But after this, we switch scenes again, and we see Kagami, Miyachi, and this other woman. They're attacking the Chimera. And again, we switch scenes. We see them fighting with it for a little bit. they're doing some Gokudera type stuff, like Gokudera Kenteku Hitman Reborn, where he has that system where he'll have like they're not magnifying glasses, but that's pretty much what they look like, and then he'll like shoot flames through them and use them as defense and stuff like that. That's what they're doing. They're shooting flames through them and all this different stuff, trying to attack the Chimera and defeat it. We don't see them actually defeat it, but at the end of the episode, we see Kagami, and the fact that he's away from that scene or area proves that they did end up defeating it. I doubt they'd let him go before it was beaten, but yeah, they're fighting it, and we never see how it turns out, but we know they win. But after this, we end up seeing Kogure and Natsume. They're riding. They're riding through the streets, and they actually run into Harutora and Kon. And they're about to go up to them, but then Chihiro comes out of nowhere. He's got this explosive tag, I guess you could call it. It's Naruto reference, but the tag explodes in the street. Then we see him. Kogure actually knows who he is, and I don't think they've legitimately met before, but they just know of each other. I think Chihiro actually referred to Kogure as Abhijna sword or something like that. I have no clue what that means, but I guess we'll find out later. But maybe not by the time the anime ends, but maybe in the light novels or the manga or something like that. But Kogure ends up staying behind to fight against Chihiro. That way, Natsume can go ahead with Harutora and Kon and stop the new wave from reaching the streets in the city. Because that'd be bad if it got that far. I forgot the name of the street. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, they end up hitching a ride on the bike. The bike, like I said, has a mind of its own. It's a familiar. It does whatever Kogure says. So there was a little bit of comedy in there too. Harutora grabbing places he shouldn't grab. Just, comedy. After that, Jesus Christ, we switch again. They switch yet again to actually, now that I think about it, those were technically two different scenes. Harutora, Kon, and Natsume left and started their own little scene. Then they switched back to Kogure and Chihiro. Then they switched to Toji. Right? And Yukikaze is there for some reason. Well, I think Mio said that Natsume's dad sent him. She said that Natsume's dad sent Yukikaze because he could like read people's fates or something like that. So Toji just gets on Yukikaze and they ride off over to where Nue is. And we see them fighting. Nue fighting with Hokuto and Kon and Harutora and Natsume. And they're not really doing too well. Kon got dominated twice. She just got flicked away. It was like she was pitiful. She was pretty pitiful. But in the end, Toji ends up showing up, and he transforms into the ogre. He can control it now somehow, and he like surrounds the staff with like lightning and power and everything. And the staff that Tenma gave him. It's Harutora's. He throws it at Harutora. Harutora catches it, stabs the Nue in the head, and it just starts dropping and dropping, and then Natsume finishes it off with this purification rite. I think that's what they called it. But Kagami's sitting there watching this, and he says that Natsume's success with this mission and taking out the Nue is going to rile up the Yako devotees. And the way he said it, it's like he thought it was a good thing, like it would help out his goals. So that's interesting to find out. Maybe I don't know, maybe it doesn't have anything to do with his goal and more just the fact that he wants revenge on them for messing with him last episode or something like that. Maybe. The point is that he thinks it's a good thing for the Yako devotees to get riled up and go after Natsume. Anyway, it turns out he still wants Toji to be taken over by this ogre. I guess he wants its power so he can eat it and make it his own. Maybe that's why he wants the Yako devotees to get riled up. Who knows? But Ohtomo ends up putting an end to that right away. He shows up and he puts his cane in Kagami's back and he just threatens him pretty much. Says oh, in this short period of time I've cast all these spells on you, and if you go to the school, then I'm going to activate all of them and you'll be trapped in all these spells, and half of them are spells you need to look up in ancient textbooks and all this stuff. And it makes Kagami back down. Essentially that's what happens. And Kokode ends up showing up towards the end. He actually says that Chihiro is dead. He had some type of suicide spell on him or something like that. But all three of them end up noticing something. And we see Harutora and Natsume and Toji and Kon, and Doman shows up. Doman starts talking to him, and Kon right away realizes that this guy is bad news. And once Doman tells them his name, Natsume had this reaction where she might have recognized his name. But the reason he showed up there is because he actually wanted to recruit them. He said, you guys will come over to our side. So maybe he really is a Yako devotee. I thought he was just a guy leading Yako devotees, and he had his own interests, and he was just using them. But maybe he really is a Yako devotee. But big news at the end of the episode, well, not really, but news at the end of the episode is that Hirata is actually working with Doman. He's a bad guy too. And it's not the most surprising thing ever. I mean, the first time he showed up, I thought he was... I didn't think he was all good, but I didn't think he was bad either. But last episode, when he apologized for what his colleague had done, I kind of got the feeling that maybe I thought, it'd be kind of funny if he was a bad guy too. But it turns out he was, so there. But overall, I actually didn't like this episode. It was much more interesting than the last one. Plus, we got a lot of stuff happening. The New Way was finally beaten. The Chimera was beaten off screen. We saw some cool attacks and some cool fight scenes, I should say. Though Toji's development kind of being skipped, and like how he trained he didn't train at all actually to control the ogre. They just they didn't. There wasn't even anything to skip. It just was non-existent. But I would say that that's kind of negated by the awesomeness of Ohtomo towards the end. I would have preferred to see Toji actually not control it out of nowhere, but it's negated by Ohtomo at the end. But overall, and Doman too. Actually, no, that more than negates it. That's just pluses for the episode. But overall, I'd say it was a great episode, to be honest. I really think it was. Toji controlled the ogre. Doman approached Natsume, Harutora, the tiger. The tiger and the dragon. He approached them. We saw, Chihiro died, so that was surprising. The cool fight scenes. There was a decent amount in this episode, so I'll say it was great. But that's it for now. My new outro is coming up soon, so listen to that. But other than that, that's really it. Rate, comment, subscribe, then I'll see you guys next time.